How's it going, man?
Good, man. How are you?
Can't complain.
Yeah, gotta love it. Good Sunday.
Yeah. Well, yeah. The weekends. I finally get my weekends back. My last job, I didn't get weekends. We would work.
Really?
We'd work 22 days straight, and then they'd give us like 4 days off, and they're like, "Yeah, that makes it worth it, right?"
What was your last job?
I was an instructor at like a leadership academy.
Oh, okay.
So we'd have
wow.
students come in for 22 days, and we teach them like that course, and then once the course is done, then you get time off.
Well, that's pretty cool. I bet
It
that
was
was
cool.
fulfilling. Yeah, I bet that was a cool job.
Yeah, it was very
Yeah.
cool, but it took a lot. So now I'm back at I do IT, so now I'm back in I manage an IT department. And
Yeah, that's what I did before bodybuilding took over my life. I worked as a kind of a consulting engineer building desktop computers for architects and engineers in the hardware side.
oh wow,
So yeah, I've worked a little bit in IT and networking and shit like that.
that's
Well,
cool.
now it's been like 6 or 7 years, so I'm ancient as far as how fast technology moves, but I can still get around.
Yeah, I think you'd be all right.
Yeah.
All right. But what do you do now full time? You're a trainer, right?
Yeah, personal train. And some Hollywood stuff kind of has been creeping in a little bit, but mostly personal training. That's where my passion is. And that's what pays the bills now.
Okay. I feel you there. Yeah.
Yeah.
I've dabbled in the personal training. So that's fulfilling. Like seeing people that actually want to stick with it. And then you start seeing those results.
I say all the time, I say, if you would have told me when I started being a personal trainer that I would love it as much as I do, I would have said, you're absolutely crazy. Like you can't even, I never could have anticipated the level of rewards you get from helping people through these problems. And you just watch their lives change on such an intimate level. It's pretty wild.
Yeah. Do you see a lot of like your clients bringing up personal stuff and you kind of help them through their personal lives?
Oh yeah. I mean, there's some guy, like I have 4 or 5 that have been with me for, now we're going on like 5 years, consistently 5 days a week. So yeah, we're all really close. You know, we're tight knit people. They came to dinner with me, stuff like that for my birthday. You know, it's like you're a real tight knit group. It's cool.
Wow, that is cool. Man. Now, you train out of Venice, out of Gold's all the time?
Pretty much all the time. When COVID happened, Gold's had to close, and Dave Fisher's stayed open in Powerhouse in Torrance. And so my business moved there for like a year and a half, and now that Gold's is getting a little bit back to normal, my business is pretty much all over there. But before COVID, I was like the Gold's guy, man. It was me and Mike Ryan. I don't know have you been to Gold?
No. I just moved to San Francisco in February, and I haven't gotten anywhere yet.
Oh, you got to come down, man. It's an awesome place.
Yeah.
But anyway, yeah, that's where my business was, and I was really doing some stuff. And hopefully we'll get back to that as long as the world gets back to what it was doing.
Yeah, hopefully. You know? I don't know. Everything's starting to ramp up again. Like I had 3 weeks. I think I had 3 weeks where everyone on post, I work on a military installation. Yeah. Like everyone had no mask. Everyone was just living their lives. It was great. You could communicate and read people's personalities and their reactions. And then it's just, and then bam, Delta happened, and now we're masked back up.
It's wild how it just goes right back. Like it's just like you get it and then you yank it. And it's almost more frustrating the second time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but it's unfortunate. You know, I think we're gonna make it through it. It just depends on when.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah. Everybody. It's kind of like a cyclical cycle with something. Something happens, and then we're like, oh, we just want it to go back to normal.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. What's the song? Even flow, ebb and flow.
That's Foo Fighters, right? No, something like that.
Maybe something like that. It's the right time frame.
Yeah.
Anywho, anyway. So got ahead of ourselves. For everyone watching, welcome back to another episode on the Bodybuilding News Network, specifically another episode of Athlete Spotlight, where we're going to be interviewing Douglas Fruchey or Fruchey.
Fruchey, you got it right. Fruchey. That was awesome.
Okay.
Nice.
Okay. I was saying Fruchey for a while. I'm like, maybe there's a little bit of a on it. So Fruchey, IFBB Pro. You turned pro recently, 2020, 2019?
Yeah, I turned pro in 2021. I turned pro June 26th in Guadalajara. I went down to Mexico and did the Mexico Super Show.
Wow.
In Guadalajara and turned pro there.
Okay. Wow. Okay. Well, unfortunately, if you've ever watched any of our shows, something about NPC News Online, they'll have like 18 different profiles for one athlete, and you just have to like dig through all the different ones to find when they qualified in their shows. And yeah, the last thing I saw was an NPC show, the Amateur Orlando is the last
amateur
one.
in 2019. I missed that. They said it was super close. 1 point they gave the other super heavyweight the call, and then he won the overall. That was a cool show.
Mm-hmm.
And then because of that, I was with Aceto, and Chris and I were talking, and he was like, "Man, you need to find like the closest pro qualifier you can, because you're there, like you're ready. You just get up there and do it." And
Mm-hmm.
so we looked at, there was a show in Argentina and a show in Russia that we were trying to get to, and I was just super excited because that sounds like so much fun.
Mm-hmm.
Just travel to compete. I mean, that's really what we're here for anyway. So I jumped at the opportunity, and both of those shows we couldn't get visas to because of COVID and stuff. So when Mexico came up, it was just like, boom. So I prepped. It's like I didn't really stop prepping since that Olympia.
Mm-hmm. Wow. Okay. And then were you able to take a little bit of off time before you hopped into, I think it was Tampa, right?
Tampa, June 26th. Tampa was August 7th. So I had like the month of July. I took off and just tried to focus on mastering that package that we bring up there. And then I had Tampa and Dallas back to back.
Yep.
It worked out perfect. It was so cool the way it worked out, because I really didn't want to wait very long to do my first pro show, at least. I mean, even though I know I have work to do, it'd be nice to have Steve and Tyler tell me what that work is firsthand, fresh off a pro stage.
Yeah, especially
that's what I really thought. I was like, I'm already in shape. Just get up there and do it and see what happens.
Yeah. Getting that feedback from like some of the best judges, that's got to be a good feeling.
Oh yeah. I mean, it's, I've stood in front of Steve at the Nationals and the North Americans both. And I think the North Americans, I don't know if he's actually there, but I've been in front of him and I really enjoyed it. But it was just, I was in shape and the shows were right there. So just jump on in. It was so cool.
Yeah. Yeah. How has your feedback from the judges evolved over the years?
It's funny. It generally always seems to be the same, with just a little bit more positivity thrown in each time. It seems like, it's almost, as a bigger framed guy, as I've learned that it just takes a long time. And so every time I get up on stage, it'd be like, yeah, you're getting bigger, but you still need bigger legs and you still need a wider back, and you still need to fill out that chest. And it's like, okay, well, cool. I gained another 10 pounds this year. Let's see how it goes. And I've just been fortunate enough to be able to, hey guys, sorry.
Oh, you're good.
Groceries. Just been able to keep pounding it on. But the feedback was the same, the same thing, bigger outer sweep and thicker and fuller through the chest and the back.
Okay. I'm looking, I'm a taller, I'm nowhere near the caliber of an athlete that you are. But I'm a taller guy. So like, I can definitely relate with the needing more width in the back, but for me, like, it looks like you have a pretty well-developed chest, at least from the front.
Yeah, this year, that was probably my biggest come up, or my biggest positive change, was my chest. Definitely from the front, and especially in that front double bicep you have right there, which has always bothered me, how thin that gets when you pick up your arms and go to that pose. But I was really happy with that. With this package in Texas, I stayed full enough. But the lower lats, that's a big thing. My torso is so long.
Yeah.
That those lats really need to come down. But it's great. I mean, that's all attainable stuff, and we love bodybuilding. So training for it's like, okay, cool. You just gave me some more direction, but it's all fun. Right.
Now, how does one person build that inner chest so that it doesn't thin out when you're doing a front double?
I think a lot of it is the heavy density on the incline movements, and also a lot of it for me has come down to nutrition. Like, I'm always have a big full chest in the gym when it's pumped, but as you start to take the water out and deplete, staying full as a bigger guy always is a challenge. But I've had a lot of good luck with just standard incline dumbbells and heavy work over time, and really mastering the ability to contract your scapula and work only your chest so you can keep the front delts out of it. That was something that took me a lot longer to learn than I'm proud to admit. It was like, took a while for me to really get that, but I did. And that's where I really saw some developments.
Oh, okay. I like how you mentioned the scapular retraction. Because I was watching one of Dr. Mike Israel's videos on the Renaissance periodization training, Juggernaut training systems, something like
Okay.
that.
Yeah.
And he was talking about how a lot of people, because I was watching your Generation Iron training video with the chest,
Oh,
the black and white one. That was gnarly.
That
Loved
was
it.
Cyrus. Yeah, I love that video. That was a good one.
Man, it makes me want to go and record my training footage in black and white. Like that looked.
Well, and I think Bill Comstock actually shot that. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it was Bill Comstock that shot that. That was such a cool thing. Generation Iron does some cool stuff. I love the way that they kind of feature the history of bodybuilding in the right way, which is just one thing I'm all about.
Okay, you and Mark's Max Muscle would get along great then.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, we have a show on here called Two Bros One Pod.
Yeah.
And half the show is him just roasting me on bodybuilding history, like just
cool.
Silver era, Golden era, like the guys back in the 30s and 40s. Like he knows all of it.
And that's even deeper than I know. Yeah.
Yeah, you'll have to check it out. I actually just posted episode 3 as we're talking. We just posted episode 3 of Two Bros One Pod. So everyone watching, check that out. If you guys love the collaboration between me and Mark's Max Muscle. But yeah, Mark's Max Muscle is a great YouTube channel. One of the best in our industry. So you'll have to check him out. He does, I don't know if you remember, like with Nick Strength and Power back in the day, he used to do like those old school videos talking about like the older athletes in bodybuilding, kind of like giving them like athlete spotlights, what we're doing right now.
I learned so much from those. I remember those a lot. I learned so much from them.
Yeah, I learned everything I know about bodybuilding from like the golden era and silver era from those Nick videos. Mark's Max Muscle, he's still doing those. He's still finding like new athletes, different athletes that haven't been highlighted as much. So
cool.
He does some cool stuff there.
So much. That's one of my favorite things about being at Gold's Venice. I mean, there's still guys there that compete. I mean, obviously Charles I work very closely with him, but I mean, there's guys like Rick Valenti, who was the main host of Muscle in the Morning on ESPN2, and he still goes there. And like I fist bump with Robbie Robinson like every day. It's so cool just to be around that. I can nerd out on that all day as well. I'm the same way. Just being there is so cool.
That's cool. We'll have to get you back on for a special guest on the Two Bros One Pod, and you and Mark can you guys can riff.
That would be cool.
And we do this is like free advertisement. We do something at the very end where we say guess that bodybuilder, and then I'll pull up pictures of like old school bodybuilders, and then he'll like, if he knows them, he'll give us like a brief history of the athlete.
Oh, that's so cool.
So you would love that. So
yeah, I would.
We'll make that happen.
Definitely be checking that out. Yeah.
All right, cool. But back to training, I was watching a Mike Isertel video, and he was talking about half the time when you're looking at, like, I consider myself a novice trainer because I feel like I haven't figured it out yet. A lot of people, they put too much weight on and they don't have enough stability, and then the weight will push them back into the bench, and you'll kind of lose that connection with the muscle or with the targeted muscle. So I was watching you do that decline press on that that Generation Iron video, and I was like, I think I'm doing the decline machine wrong.
Was it the hammer strength one where we have the hips way out?
Yeah,
that's what Charles actually kind of came up with that, and it's a very different way to do it. But it with the scapular retraction perfect, you can like pull your entire chest up into the perfect spot to contract the whole thing through that movement, and it's really spot on.
I mean, it looks great.
I'll put something up about that. I can do like a post about that and show it, because it really helps if you have like a little pad to go in between your scapula to really push your chest up, because it's very easy to let the weight take your shoulders up, so you have to really keep them down.
Yeah,
I would say that's like an intermediate move. I wouldn't teach that to somebody that wasn't strong enough to hold the spot.
Sure. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, but I noticed that, so I was like, this is my day off, so I'm just itching to get back in there.
It's the same way for me. I've thought about 3 ways I'm going to train tomorrow. All the different stuff. Mondays are always great in the gym.
Yeah,
we've had a day to think about it.
Yeah. I actually just switched from after, who was it? Phil Clahar kind of roasted me about it a little bit. Kareth Bajo roasted me a little bit about it. I've been training 6 days a week for like the last year. And I popped my hamstring, and I still have issues with this labrum. So they're like, I mean, obviously your body's trying to tell you something, man. And I'm only eating 4 rice cakes a day right now. So like really trying to cut it down.
Yeah, you're pushing it.
Yeah. and I'm still learning things about training, like with the mesocycle I'm on now. Like I'm trying to like hit that like RPE 8 on 1 week and then RPE 7 and keeping some reps in the tank. Like, so I'm like trying to mess around with that stuff, but like I'm so tired.
Yeah.
And I'm working full time, so it's like, yeah, it's rough. But yeah, I still feel like what I was trying to say was I'm hoping that I feel better with this extra day of rest.
Yeah. Generally, sometimes that's what you need, is just to take that extra day. I know. I mean, but I'm traditionally a 6-day-a-week trainer too, unless my body starts doing what it's doing and aching and stuff like that. But can't keep me out of the gym, generally.
Yeah. And then like I don't have that like additional assistance from supplements, so it's like,
yeah,
I'm really just like, that's what I'm really excited about. I want to do a show this year. I was thinking of doing Austin Carr's show in Las Vegas in 7 weeks. I'm going to see what I look like in like 5 weeks, and then I'll call it to see if I'm going to make it or not. But if not, the Sacramento Pro is at the end of November. And then, I mean, I'm sure you would know more about like the Cali shows that are in the area.
Yeah, as far as the amateurs, I mean, I feel like they have a show like every week.
Oh, really?
Pretty much. Muscle Contest does a great job of that. They're either in Orange County, LA. They haven't really started back since COVID. Like there used to be a lot in LA, but now it's like Orange County, Huntington Beach, and then Arizona and Vegas. But yeah, there's a lot of shows over on this West Coast. Muscle Contest does a lot. And the nice thing is they also do shows that are like just bikini and classic physique and stuff like that. So they're pretty spread out. The big ones, of course, are like the Cal, which hopefully I'll do that one next year.
Yeah, I'll be there. I'll have my reporter set up there. So if you're there, let me know.
Oh yeah, I've always looked at that one. I know I want to do that one and try to do the New York Pro.
New York Pro, that'd be a good one. And you're a big guy, so they'll give you that look.
Yeah. Hopefully.
Whereas like the Cali Pro, that's more traditionally like lines. They like the Patrick Moores.
Yeah, they love Patrick Moore. That's for sure. I think didn't he win that 2 in a row?
Two in a row.
Yeah, 2 in a row. They love him. He's got such a great physique, man. That guy's awesome.
And he does not compare well to anyone else. He is his own thing. Like leg dominant, short torso, small midsection, crazy wide shoulders. Like there's no one else like it.
I'm so excited to see what he looks like as he's sticking it up the back, because that was really his only thing was. And if he can get that thing looking thick, that'll look so wild when he turns around, because his waist is just nothing.
Yeah.
It's
it's stupid tiny.
It's so small.
Yeah.
It's wild.
God. Are you going to the Olympia?
Yes. Yeah, I'm probably going to be there. My buddy Aaron Reed lives out in Tampa.
Oh, wow. Nice.
Yeah, and so we'll go out there and hang out. I love it out. And actually, I really like the Orlando location. It's a pretty cool setup because everything's right there by the convention center, and it's not bad.
Yeah, I'm still looking for an Airbnb. So if you know someone who wants to split one, I don't snore too loud, but I'll be there.
Sounds good.
I'm gonna try out they give out free tickets for veterans in the morning. Like,
do they?
Like the first 100 or first 200 people that are veterans at a certain gate. So I'm gonna try that, but I'm gonna make sure I have some money in the bank if I need to buy one
in case.
Yeah. But I'm gonna try that out.
Rock on.
And then I saw a flight. There was a layover in Vegas for 8 hours. So I was like, okay, if I'm going to be in Vegas for 8 hours, I'm going to see if I can try getting into that Dragon Lair gym. But
yeah, I still got to get out there.
It might be private. I don't know. I'll have to message Austin Carr and see if he knows anything.
You can go. I'm pretty sure they close it for a little bit. Well, for the guys to train is what I've heard during the day.
That's smart.
Yeah, that's right. That's a great way to do it. But I'm pretty sure it's not private because everybody's been going. And then, Hidetada just opened Powerhouse in Vegas too.
Oh, wow.
I still haven't gone out to, but yeah, there's another one. He just opened a gym too.
I didn't know that.
So there's a lot going on in Vegas.
Yeah. If I could find a duty position in Vegas when I PCS, like I would kill for that. That'd be so cool.
There's an Air Force base in Vegas, isn't there?
Yeah. The Army and the Air Force don't always.
No, not always.
Yeah. So sometimes you'll have an AFB, Air Force base, and they nothing to do with the Army.
Yeah.
But we'll see. But yeah, man. How's so you're full off season right now?
Pretty much. I mean, I don't really go full off season that much just because it's hard enough for me. Like I never really get fat because you can't eat enough food for my stomach can't keep up. So I stay pretty tight. And I got this little movie where they're going to dress me up in a big cosmetic what do they call it, a prosthetic mask and shit for this crazy sci-fi movie. That's next week. So I still had to kind of stay in shape for that, but obviously not bodybuilding shape.
Yeah.
And I've been doing all kinds of training with Mike O'Hearn. So that was,
oh wow,
him and I started training together right after Tampa. And I just having a lot of fun. It's kind of like just new shit, different stuff.
Wow.
It's fun.
I don't know what you want to say, but like Mike is such a an interesting character online. Like, how does that translate in person?
I think it's quite a bit of just a persona online. I mean, he's just a funny dude in person. We have a good time. It's nice because you don't find anymore the real competitive athlete in the gym so much, you know. And so with him, we've been, especially one that's as good at training as he is. Like, you know, we're both pretty technically sound. We both know how to keep ourselves in good position. We can both, you know, push heavy weight, so we can kind of compete.
Yeah.
Whereas most of the time when I'm training, it's total bodybuilding focus. But this has taken that power competition type stuff and put a bodybuilding focus on it, because we're just doing only the little things that he wants to show me to help me bring in my physique in a different way. So it's cool. And then I'll take that when I start going at it hard for next year, take those kind of movements and put the bodybuilding spin on them. Yeah. So that's pretty cool.
Yeah. Every little piece would help.
Oh, absolutely.
Like your front squats with him, like that was gnarly. Like that brings me back to like high school. Like, I used to front squat better than I could back squat.
Well, and for me, that's not the case. I've always been a pretty strong back squatter. But I think it was 2018, my training partner at the time and I think we saw someone front squat and we were like, you know what, fuck that. We can fucking front squat. And I was like, we're not going to stop until we can front squat a set of 10. And we just decided, we were like, we didn't stop every Saturday, front squat Saturday morning. And then after about 3 or 4 months, we could get it. But you just holding that bar on your shoulders, it's not easy.
Yeah.
Not something my body's really meant for either, because I definitely can't do it that way. I have to cross it over. And
you're so jacked up top, like you're probably suffocating yourself trying to keep it there.
Yeah, if it doesn't touch your throat, it's not in the right spot. Yeah, it's tough. But I grew to really like them, and the flexibility that it develops really has helped me a lot. So I enjoy that too.
Yeah. Do you ever do like power cleans?
No, nothing explosive really.
Yeah, don't make sense.
Explosive stuff. I tore my Achilles playing basketball in like 2017. And so since then, I just kind of decided, I was like, yeah, I can be strong and I can be powerful, but you don't get to be explosive too. Like that's just dangerous. Right. And even every time I joke around and jump too fast, I'm like, oh no, that didn't feel good. Don't do that again. You know?
Yep.
Stuff like that. Just, I don't want any more of those injuries.
That's what happened with my hamstring. I was playing like capture the flag for like morning PT, and just, this is the first time I've ever had something like that. Just that whole hamstring just popped.
Oh, and
I still
bruised a lot.
Yeah. Bruised a lot. I had it wrapped up for a while, and then somehow it just messed up the whole leg. Like the calf was just like a rock. And then I still have like ankle mobility now, or it's like, I've been doing physical therapy for like 8 weeks now. And it's still like, I think I had my first good leg day a few days ago, but I still can't do like a traditional barbell squat, because like everything's just off.
Yeah, it'll be some work. If you look at my rear double bicep, you can see clear. I tore one hamstring really bad, and then I tore the other Achilles, and it changes everything. But I tell you, as you develop your feeling again, you'll really understand your legs at a different level, because you'll have to really see how that changed your one side. I mean, it depends on how much it rolled up and stuff. But I did the same thing playing softball. Tore that hamstring so bad. You know, it hurts. I know it does. I feel for you.
Yeah,
that's not a fun one.
I mean, yeah, I can definitely tell the size difference from the back, but I mean, my hamstrings are like probably my worst part. So like I have really, like, if you look at my personal channel, like my quads, I mean, for a natty, like my quads, like they sweep out pretty good. Like that's my favorite part of my body. And then now that I'm getting leaner, the midsection starting to come in a little bit. I got really high lat certs like yourself. So it's like, I don't know. I'm very excited to see, even with these injuries, how much muscle I've put on this last year.
Oh yeah, that's so much fun. The whole thing's so much fun.
Yeah. And then, getting back to what I was originally talking about, I'm going to make my first NPC show this year, and then I'm going to do my research, my due diligence, and then who knows what I'm going to do, but I want to come back next year in some capacity enhanced, just to show the same judges like what I've done from the start, and then just keep doing that for. I think I'll be in California for about 4 years, so just every year, just show them a more improved package every year.
Yeah. That's cool. I mean, that's a smart thing to do. That's what the game is all about. I understood really quickly, I feel like, that bodybuilding really, it's like a sales conference. You know, you show up to the show and you're like, hey, this is what I've been working on. Are you guys buying or not? Okay, you know, cool. You know, that's how I've always kind of looked at it. Yeah. It took away a lot of the political, you know, people get so mad about politics. I'm like, well, it's a business. What do you expect? They're there. It's going to happen.
Yeah, like, you know, they might not be looking for what you're looking for. Or like, I always wonder if, like, when Big Ramy won the Olympia, like, if that changed the criteria for these other pro shows, because they're like, okay, how is the winner of this going to compare?
Well, I feel like
because we're sending this guy there, so
yeah, I feel like historically that's kind of how it's been. I mean, if you look, like, everybody was chasing Dorian, and then Ronnie came along and took Dorian, and then everybody was chasing Ronnie, and then Ronnie decided he was done because nobody was ever going to catch him anyway, and then everybody started chasing, you know, the next one, and then Phil. I always feel like that. It's like that's what Mr. Olympia is you're the year's decision of, you know, what we all need to try to look like and how we need to beat you and stuff like that. So I think it'll change. Definitely, I think it will. I mean, Ramy really came in shape for the first time, like really in shape. Man, it was spectacular. And so, but he kept his waist in. So now that'll be the standard, I think. You know, we'll see.
Yeah.
We'll see how like Nick Walker, I think, is the next one. If he can keep his waist in and keep that shape, he'll be able to. I mean, I think Ramy's a little taller than Nick Walker, isn't he?
He's got to be. He's got to be, yeah.
I mean, I don't
Nick
know.
is not tall at all.
No, Nick's not tall at all. But Ramy was the time that I met him, he surprised me that he was shorter than I expected too in person. Yeah, but that happens. I mean, that happens to me with most of the bodybuilders that I meet. I'm like, oh wow, I didn't even realize how big I was, like, comparatively structure wise, until I got to Tampa and was like walking around in the posing room. Wow. You know, then I was like, oh wow. I mean, not to say, of course, I mean, that's not to say that they're not, of course, way better bodybuilders than me, but just, you know, frame wise and bone structure wise, you know, I was just like, almost was like, am I in the right room? Like, maybe I should have been a strong man. Who knows?
Yeah. And how tall are you?
6'1". I'm about 6'1".
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So we're about the same height. Yeah. I'll be interested to see like how I look next to some of these guys, because I'm 6'2" and I'm about 220 right now. It'll be fun to see like how I compare next to
that's always my favorite part of, you know, looking at the pictures afterward. Every show, it's like, well, how especially the pro shows, because they're my first ones. I was like, did I look like I belonged? I didn't stand out, right? Like, you know, it was cool.
No, I was very happy with the package. I hope you were as well, but like I was very happy with the package you brought to Texas.
I definitely was, you know, and we got tighter in Texas than we were in Tampa. Lost like 5 pounds that week. But it's just so cool working with Aceto. It's like I just get to watch a master do something so firsthand, you know. It's like, because it's on me, but really I can watch as a fan too and just be like, all right, what are you going to do with this? Like, let's see. It's such a cool experience, and I learn so much every time, and we just get better and better.
Yeah.
So I can't wait till this year.
And how did that relationship start between you and Chris?
I was really good friends with Jonas. I'm pretty good friends with Jonas Gietrich, and he won nationals in 2019, and I was there. And I remember seeing Jonas before, and then he didn't compete for a while, and then he competed at nationals, and he smoked it. He looked phenomenal. So I was just like, dude, what changed? And he was like, Chris Aceto. And I was like, oh, okay, well, you know, and I just asked for contact, and Jonas set me up with the contact, and then we were getting ready for a show, and then COVID pretty much happened, and we never competed, but I paid him for the whole year. And so then at the end of that COVID year, we were able to do the USAs and the Amateur Olympia 4 days apart. And that, I got to write something about that. That was the coolest thing, because what kind of guy gets the experience with Chris Aceto, who's worked with all the, you know, this great bodybuilding mind, to watch what he's going to do to dry you out for a show and then fly you directly across the country to Florida, dry you out again 4 days later for another show. And it was just so, like, it was so cool to have that experience.
Wow.
You know, and just because Chris, the only time I've actually seen Chris in person was in Orlando. He was at the Olympia, obviously.
Right.
And so that was like, you know, having Chris Aceto in the room, I was having flashbacks to those videos of Jay Cutler and him sitting there in the kitchen.
Yeah.
It was so cool. It was surreal as a bodybuilding fan. Surreal. You know,
I couldn't imagine like what Chris's hotel room is like It probably looks like a brothel of just muscle in and out, in and out, in and out with check-ins.
Oh, he just runs around. Like, no, he'll come to, he just comes to
he
your
comes,
room.
wow.
Yeah, he's just running all the time. You never catch that guy. Busiest dude I've ever seen, running everywhere.
He's got to have like 15-minute Google alerts, just bam, 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 bam.
Oh,
bam.
I'm sure. Because he's not like, like Andrew Vu and those guys, they were all backstage like the whole time hanging out with all their athletes. Yep. He's not really like that. He's in his room, just running around room to room. I mean, he usually just travels with Kamal, the guy, the 212 guy that they work really closely together.
Yeah.
And so they work much more closely than him and I do, but I'm blessed to have whatever I have with him.
Mm-hmm. That's cool. That's cool. Yeah, it will be interesting to see like how the change in the torch with the Sean Clarita and the Big Ramy, like how that's going to affect the 2021 Olympia, and see how these guys show up.
To see how it is, because Hunter has yet to show up anything but pretty much perfect.
Yeah.
And it's like, and a lot of the guys are really technically proficient now, which is something that I kind of felt like in the Phil Heath, Kai Green battle area, there was a lot of that. It was like 1st through 5th was in shape, and then everybody else was kind of like, we're, not quite there. Here, I mean, lately, everybody's been in really good shape. And whether you're the younger guy or the older guy, I mean, look at Klahar. That was so wild to see that in person, how shredded he was, how in shape he was. That was so awesome. And so I'm really excited too. Really excited. Mm-hmm. It'll be cool.
Okay. We briefly touched on it. Who are you excited? Okay, actually, I'll snippet that. As we come into the second part of this interview, I wanted to have you on as a special guest for the NPC Spotlight, Rising Stars, another episode of Rising Stars. And I wanted to ask you, like, personally, like, who do you see in the NPC that's coming up in different categories and divisions that you're really excited about, potentially turning pro or, just getting ready for a show?
In the NPC, there's a couple guys running around at Gold. There's a dude, actually, he's more of a powerhouse guy, Jeremy Alvarez. He's a bodybuilder, he's a light heavyweight guy out of Dave Fisher's powerhouse. He did really well at the USAs, and his shape is good. And I've watched him grow for like 4 or 5 years around LA.
Okay.
And he's done really well. And then there's a classic physique guy. Powerhouse, actually, we had a really good team. And I even though now I'm at Golds, I kind of feel like, there's Jeremy right there. He's got a great shape and thick. And I think he walks, he was debating so much. Everybody gets caught. I feel like the unfortunate thing for being a light heavyweight or a heavyweight nowadays is you get caught in this battle about, well, whether I should do classic physique or bodybuilding.
Yep.
But I think he fits pretty well in either one, but he's going to go the bodybuilding route. So in the next year or two, I think he'll do pretty well.
Okay.
And then Manny is a classic physique guy that, man, he was so close to getting his pro card at the North Americans last weekend. Manuel Guidardo. I think his Instagram's Manny Fresh with a PH in there somewhere.
Oh yeah, I got him.
Yeah. He's got such a cool shape. I always joke with him because he looks exactly like that giant Iranian dude who always comes over to Dennis James. What's that guy's name?
Dennis James, Iranian guy.
The Iranian guy who Hadi Chopin. He looks like Hadi Chopin in the face. But in the face is funny. He looks like that. But he's got a really good physique, good classic posing. And I think he was third 2 times in a row at the national level shows this year. Wow. And he was one that I always thought was really cool. Really hard worker, focused, likes the kind of the old school bodybuilding thing, which that's really one of my biggest things.
Yeah. Okay. I like that old school look. I mean, he looks great.
My goal literally is to be like the classic mass monster, which I know classic physique doesn't really have a place for that. But if you look at like the guys like, Gary Stridham and the dudes that were really the bigger ones of those guys, they still need to be on the bodybuilding stage because you can't, they were too big for classic physique back then.
Sure.
There's a few of those. And so I love the classic physique division. And I think it's an awesome way to preserve the lifestyle a little bit more.
Mm-hmm. I like what you're saying there, Doug, about that, bringing that classic look into the open. I think that, your physique does a good translation of that, a good representation of that. But then also, one of my favorite guys, Rafael Brandeo. I mean, that guy.
Oh yeah, he's a beautiful bodybuilder, and I feel the same way.
And even Hunter Labrada in some aspects. I mean, he has really good lines. I mean, obviously he's open bodybuilder through and through, but
Yeah.
he still keeps it classic.
Well, and I think that's the thing is people, especially as Classic Physique came out and we had that initial separation of the athletes. We have to remember that Classic Physique is still bodybuilding.
Yes.
The difference is the lack of a lat spread. That's really the only difference. The conditioning is the same, and a lot of times, even as an open bodybuilder, I'll say that the Classic Physique guys smoke us in conditioning. At a lot of shows, it's like, wow, you guys are really in good shape. And I think that shouldn't be lost in the open side either, just because there's another division. Like, I don't know. So that's really where I kind of stand on it as developing my own physique. I mean, I train the old way. That's another thing is I really try to preserve that with Charles coaching me and shit. I mean, we've pulled out the notebooks that he used when he was training flex and like compared leg days and stuff like that. And I love that stuff.
Wow.
I think it's awesome.
That would be cool to get like a blueprint of like what a real blueprint, not just like a bodybuilding.com blueprint.
Yeah,
like,
not what they put in muscular development to sell the protein and stuff.
Yeah.
The real look. I felt the same way. And some of it, you had to look at Charles and be like, dude, are you serious? You really put him through this? I mean, there was one day it was like, well, we just felt like volume worked. So for a couple of weeks, we just did 15 sets of hack squats. And then we superset that with leg press. And then we finished with walking lunges.
Oh.
And I was like, Charles, are you serious? And he was like, yeah, go ahead. And just walked away and left me with that. And I was like, okay, here we go. But, just to think that's, and I got to do it on the same exact hack squat and leg press that he got to do it on. That was cool, man. That was so cool.
Man, I'm such a fan that like, when I go down to Venice, I'm sure I'll meet you.
Oh yeah. Come on down.
I'll just be shaking. I'll just be like a jitty little kid, just like, oh man, this is the place.
That's literally how I am every day. I mean, that's literally still how I am every day.
I envy you.
One of my thoughts is I want to do kind of a show, like a YouTube something or other, kind of spotlighting that a little bit. There's so much that you could show about the history and this and that. I mean, even the guy that brought Charles Glass to Gold's Gym Venice still goes there every day. Mm-hmm. Like the dude that was like, hey, Charles, you need to come down and check out this gym. He's still there every day. It's just kind of cool, the history behind all of it.
I would be more than interested to have like a triple threat, like have you, me, and then we just bring on people to talk about, how Gold's Gym like started and just cool stories. I'd love that. We could have our own little bro talk.
Yeah. That would be cool.
We'll set that up, man. Getting back to the NPC guys, anybody else you're really excited about? Any women bodybuilders?
The women all won this year. Honestly, there's even a girl, Jessie from Gold. She won. But right now, no, my female clients are kind of waiting until the end of the year. I have one girl, Cassie, who is getting ready for the Amateur Olympia. I think she doesn't have much on her social media.
Okay.
Because of her job, but she's getting ready. Other than that, I don't know much about the females getting ready. Everybody that I know won or is already a pro doing really well.
Yeah, the only one that was really on my radar coming into this competitive season is actually a lady, apologies, that was training out of the Kansas City gym, Hunter Henderson. She won what was it, the USA's? I don't want to say the wrong one.
Well, she came in. She did the Tampa. I see the Tampa Pro.
Yeah, she won her pro card and then rolled right into. She won this one.
Yeah, that's the USA's.
USA's, yeah. So she won the USA's. Phenomenal. Everyone had her winning coming into that one, and then she went right into Tampa. Just an amazing physique.
How'd she do in Tampa?
I don't recall off the top of my head. I think she did well. I think she got in that. She was in the first call out.
That looks like the shape they're looking for physique now. I noticed with physique, they really are looking for that downsized, sleek look, almost like if Frank Zane was a woman.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I think that
mean that with all respect.
Of course.
I'll say that. I know we're on a podcast, but
no, we're all fans. Yeah. I think Andrea Shaw kind of really brought in a new era for like women's. I'm going to say physique. but like I mean like a woman's physique, not the class. Because like
class,
Lord knows I mess up like what class each person competes in. But she was really the only one I had my eye on coming out of the NPC this year, and she just absolutely crushed it. Then came into her first show, placed first call out. I mean, just such an impressive athlete. Yeah. Hopefully, I'm trying to get some more ladies on this show because it's just a sausage fest right now. But we'll see. We'll see.
Rock on.
Yeah.
Well, thanks for having me, man. This is awesome.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's finish up. I think I talked about it right at the beginning. What's your plan for the off season? You're still keeping it lean though.
Still keeping it lean always. My plan is just to continue. I had such in all ways, but especially technically from a bodybuilding standpoint, I had such a successful off season last year. I probably gained like a good 10 pounds of tissue, like really everything was firing on all cylinders. And so I just hope to keep that going. Figure out the best way. I really guess I got to go back to the drawing board and figure out how I'm going to put enough stress on the outside of my quads to get them to grow. And just work on that. And, I'm excited now. All the first show jitters are out, and it's like, okay, those ones were free. Now we can get to work and see what we can do next year.
Okay, man. And you said you'd like to do the Cali Pro, you'd like to do the New York Pro.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not really sure what the schedule is going to look like next year, but traditionally before COVID, it was always like the New York Pros in March or April, and then the Cals right around there. So I plan to start, early next year, right around that time, see what's going on. I know a bunch of the guys that did Dallas are planning on doing Indy, like my buddy Dorian Haywood and all that. So that'd be a good show too. Go see that. I've never been out there, but yeah, I'm just along for the ride. Glad to be here.
Right. All right, man. Awesome. As we finish up this episode, I wanted to give you the chance to plug any sponsors, anybody who's been supporting you.
Definitely just Crazy Wear, California Crazy Wear. They support me a lot. And I have a great team of close friends and my clients. Everybody, thank you. I know you'll listen. Check out my website. I put up a new website doing some cool stuff. It's Bethetide.one. I'm pretty excited about that. So that's about all I got.
Yeah. Chris, your coach. Okay, man. I appreciate you coming on. I appreciate you making it work out with the time slots.
My pleasure, man. It's my pleasure. Thanks for asking.
Yeah, absolutely. And then we look forward to seeing you in the 2022 competitive season. And hopefully we can get you on sooner than later and we can start that show. But we'll talk about that later.
Yeah, I'll reach out about that. That'll be good.
All right, man. Hey, Douglas, man, appreciate you coming on. For the fans watching, that will do it for another episode on the Bodybuilding News Network, specifically an athlete spotlight with Douglas Fruchey.
Rock and roll. Thanks, guys.
All right, man. Take care, guys.